Sometimes we just need to check ourselves.
And do more of that.
Yeah.
It's really, this is all about you. We have to learn to be... we have to learn to be more kind. And I say have to because when you're kind and you learn to be kind again, it's an emotional maturity. And the more people we get that are emotionally mature, the less addictions, the less conflicts, the less issues with mental health we'll have. It's a simple solution in just being kind, but it's very hard because the simple things are always the hardest things.
Isn't that the truth?
I hear that all the time. It's like my daughter used to tell me, it's easier to do bad than good. She was 6. And she would tell me, it's just easier to do bad than good. And I was like, wow, how insightful.
Yeah, that's...
Because people get credit when they do bad. When people are unkind, they get rewarded in society.
Yeah, that's true.
That is so true.
They get rewarded. Yeah, you're unkind. You're seen as a cutthroat, and that's great. But it's not. It's not a good characteristic. Yeah. It's destructive. So, I can hear people thinking, well, who are you to tell me what to do, and why do you know everything? And it's not that we know everything. It's just that, this is the podcast called The Real Podcast of Dallas, and this is what we're talking about, and this is one of the topics, is kindness. And if you're speaking that way, then you're unkind. And again, there's a lot of unkind people, or the people who are kind but not genuinely kind.
Right.
And this is what we're addressing. So it's been a good episode.
And let me just too go. That saying, there's no such thing as a joke. When people say, you look chubby today. No, I'm just joking. Ha ha ha.
They kind of give it to you on the slide. Yeah.
The sting was still there, passive, and I don't think you were joking at all.
A passive aggressive.
That's very passive aggressive, and so don't do that to your friends. Don't do that to people you don't like. It hurts. I had a niece that was in a relationship with a guy who always made fat jokes around her. And it took her a long time, because he was like, oh, I was just joking when she'd get upset. But then he'd do it over and over again.
Mm-hmm. He's pushing those boundaries.
That's not a good, healthy relationship. It was time. She left, and she did, and I was so glad.
That is good.
Yeah, that's by the way, that's abusive.
It's very abusive. Very abusive.
And, I keep talking about boundaries and setting boundaries, but that's one of the key things, is to a healthy relationship. Healthy relationships is setting healthy boundaries. In fact, this podcast was a boundary. We're setting a boundary.
That's right.
The Little Dumb Podcast that could is setting a healthy boundary. So if you listen to this, that's what we're doing. We're setting a boundary that, what we talk about here is for people's mental health and well-being.
Right.
Well-being, that is so important. Yes. Your well-being, the well-being of others, the well-being of everyone who's listening to us.
Right.
And those that are surrounded by them.
Yes, and we are going to keep doing them because that's what we do.
The Real Podcast of Dallas.
Yes, The Real Podcast of Dallas. And how can they hear this, Maria? They're like, I want to hear something that's, keep me company. What should they look for?
Just Google The Real Podcast of Dallas, and it will give you access to our Facebook page that gives you access to each and every podcast that we have recorded so far. It will also give you access to the links on YouTube. So if you want to go into YouTube, if you're in YouTube, all you have to do is, do your search in YouTube for The Real Podcast of Dallas, and it's going to give you access to all of the podcasts that we have recorded.
And we have 41 podcasts.
41 podcasts.
This will be our 42nd podcast. So please keep listening to The Real Podcast of Dallas. It was good to do another podcast, having podcast withdrawals. You want to say anything to anybody, Cindy?
Be kind.
A simple smile will go a long way. A simple "how are you" will go a long way.
Be kind. Kindness is not weakness. It takes a lot to be kind. In fact, it takes so much that it'll wear you down trying. If it's not in your nature to be kind and you're trying to be kind, you're going to struggle. It's going to be difficult. You'll wrestle with yourself. That's how tough it is to be kind. Yeah. And then once you be kind, you become stronger because now you become wiser.
Let them knock you down. Just be kind.
That's right.
Yes, be kind.
We know who's stronger.
I remember the Be Kind Rewind.
I do. I was thinking of that. Blockbuster.
I kept thinking of that too. Blockbuster. Be Kind
So
Rewind.
true. I remember that.
Yes. So it's another episode of the Real Podcast of Dallas. Keep listening. We're going to keep bringing you more episodes. Let us know if you enjoyed this episode. Comment on YouTube. And with that, I'll leave you with some peace and love.
Harmony is what we need for a better way. For all of us, I say now. Hey, you're wondering how I make my move and how I maintain my groove. The same spirit that guides me, I know is protecting you too. No need for segregation. No need for separation. For a one God create you all away. Let's embrace and live like one big family. Yeah, what we need today now. Yeah. Things well tough, but the world we have to juggle. Peace and love are what we need today. For a better way now. Oh, now. Things well hard, but the world we have to juggle. Oh, now. Oh, well. Keep fighting the struggle. One must work hard for what he wants and keep the juggling alive. Never you get weary. Never let the pressure get you down. For man must live and pray and praise you every day. For a one God create you on a way. Let's embrace and live like one big family. Yeah. What we need today for a better way. Yeah. Things are hard, but the world we have to juggle. What we need today. There is no other way to say now. And them say things are tough, but the world we have to juggle. Oh, now. Got to fight this your struggle. Oh, well. We've got to beat this your juggle. Hey. Yes, you're wondering how I make my move and how I maintain my groove. But the spirit that guides me, the same one's guiding you too. No need for segregation, no need for separation. For a one God create you all away. Let's embrace and live like one big family. Yeah, now. What we need today to make a better way. Yeah, things well tough, but the world we have to juggle. How we need today to make a better way. Things well tough, but the world we have to juggle. One must work hard to find what he wants and keep the juggling alive. Never you get weary. Never let the pressure get you down. One man must live